convocation speech, the 7th president of Tuskegee University, Brian L. Johnson, PhD.
Thank you. Thank you. Ideally, when you select a chief of staff, he should be a supporter. He should work to strengthen my marriage as opposed to cause me difficulties in the evenings. But I'm very happy that Edward Brown provided you with an opportunity to know a little bit about me beyond what you may see me around campus or in formal occasions, because he's been there and has known me since I was in college. He has been not only a confidant, but also a competent professional in a world where so much and so many people are filled with personal and selfish desires. He's always been a friend and a competent professional that throughout my career I've been able to pick up the phone and to call him and to talk a little bit about what it is that I envision. And so when I called him, as he was previously at North Carolina State, and said I had an opportunity for you to come on alongside of me to serve as both a confidant but also as a competent professional as chief of staff, it was with great reluctance that he came, partly because he knows that my penchant for ties as opposed to bow ties was going to be a problem. But all the same, I thank you for the welcome today. I'd like to call particularly to the freshmen the attention to the university seal that's in the program. You will note 3 Latin words. These Latin words are translated as follows, and it's inscribed in our mission. It's noted as our motto. And these words are knowledge, leadership, and service. And so today's opening convocation, I decided to take one of those 3 pillars, particularly leadership, as a way of talking today to not only freshman students, but all students, all staff, all faculty, all supporters, board of trustee members, and anyone within the sound of my voice about what this year means. And so the title of my talk today is The Light of Leadership. Tom Peters wrote in one of his many leadership texts that a leader does not create more followers. A leader creates more leaders. We know of a carpenter who lived 2,000 years ago, who, when he created disciples, he was not merely creating men who would carry his water and simply bow and genuflect to him. He was trying to reproduce himself. He began with a multitude. Then he found 12, 77 as opposed. Then there were 70. Then he selected 12. But then even within that 12, there were 3. And then even in that 3, there was 1, who he called John the Beloved, who stayed very close to his bosom. Now make no mistake, in that 3, is my wife and my 2 sons. But beyond that, what he intended to do was to create leaders surrounding him, to support him. He didn't simply want to have to go into the world by himself. He multiplied himself so that he could go out into a multitude of areas. So I want to talk a little bit today about what this light of leadership means, calling particularly one passage from his Sermon on the Mount. You're familiar with the Beatitudes, and shortly after speaking about those who are blessed, he said something quite marvelous. He said, "Let your light so shine amongst men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Now let's be clear. He did not say, "Let them see or hear your good words." He said, "Let them see and hear your good works." Now many of us and all of us are leaders, and we are all individual lights, and we all must talk, and we all must communicate. But what's most important in our communication is not what we say, but what we do. You'll hear throughout my presidency that your words ought to always be synonymous with your works. You ought not ever say that you want others to be humble when you yourself are not humble. You ought not ever say you want your students to be knowledgeable and you yourselves are not knowledgeable. You ought never say that you want others to be leaders and you yourself have never led. Words and works together are what distinguish the greatest men in our history. They said of Jesus that he spoke with authority because he was not like the others. The others spoke, but there was something different about when he spoke. Oftentimes when people asked him, "Who are you?" he told them, "Go and see what I'm doing, and what I am doing is what will define who I am." So I want to talk with you about 5 elements of this light of leadership, and I want to do it in a way that hopefully can be somewhat inspiring on today for everyone. I know that I've been in many conversations with board members, alumni, even our eminent associates last evening, opening conference with our faculty and our staff, the SGA Town Hall, and in many of these facets, I've spoken to you very directly about a number of the challenges we have. I've told you and informed you on June 13th that there are 3 main goals we have for this year, is to complete a university-wide self-study, to learn of oneself. It is only a fool that goes into a place launching vision without knowing exactly what that place is capable of accomplishing. We're also creating outcomes for every single unit at this university, whether they're janitorial services, landscaping services, vendor services, alumni associations, anyone that sucks from the nipples of Mother Tuskegee's milk must have outcomes associated with the milk that she is providing, including our students. And beyond that, we're installing this year a management and administrative philosophy. This philosophy is not merely technology and personnel evaluation forms and holding individuals accountable and making sure that contracts are written not for permanency but for effectiveness, but it also means instilling the spirit of a leader, expectations and standards of excellence. And of course, our 5 strategic priorities: student success, student engagement. We are here because of our students, and that's number 1. Number 2, fully inaugurating a 21st century culture in technology and infrastructure. Number 3, effectively managing all of the resources in the milk of Mother Tuskegee, and that's not merely fiscal resources, but it's also our personnel resources. Fourthly, increasing our enrollment. This institution has only doubled in 100 years since the passing of Booker T. Washington. When he passed away in 1915, there were 1,500 students. Today, there is a head count of only 3,000. This institution owns number 12 in the nation in property owned. We have a capacity of 10,000 or more students. We fully intend to achieve that. And then fifthly, our 5th strategic key priority is a diverse portfolio of advancement and development. We're not only a STEM research grant institution, that is our DNA and will continue to be so. But there are a number of ways to advance and develop your institution in the arts, in the humanities, through marketing. My predecessor said something quite powerful. He said that we must bring Tuskegee to the world and the world to Tuskegee, and I agree with that. We have to know that in the 21st century, your students are on Instagram. They are on Facebook, they are on Twitter. Your brand is well known, but the brand is largely known amongst those who know Tuskegee. So when we're talking about advancement and development, it's a diverse portfolio. It means that we advance in development in a number of ways and not limited by any. So in the light of leadership, I want to talk with you about 5 quick things about what that involves. The first of which is, a light of leadership, leaders is seen and not heard. What do I mean by that? Lights are seen. They are able to demonstrate without partiality. They are able to present all of what is currently in the room or in its vicinity in clear and documentable ways. When a light shines in this auditorium, no one will be able to say that those seats aren't orange. We all know that they're orange. But our interpretation and our words as we leave may say, oh, I think it was brown, or I think it was yellow, or I think it was blue. And in fact, it may not even be orange according to the color palette. Someone would have to tell me about that. But the point is, lights are seen. They rarely focus on their words. And the only extent to which one must focus on words is to the extent to which you are describing what can be seen. This is quite necessary for leadership. People do not want to hear you merely talk and describe what things are and what they ought to be. What people want to know is, what can we visibly see? In my home, I can tell my children that I love them, but if I do not demonstrate that love to my children, they will not care at all about what I say about love. You may demonstrate in front of your classroom that you care for your students, but if they do not feel a demonstrated empathy towards them, they will not feel that concern. I could go on and on about examples, our students who say that you love this university, but yet you do not honor her rules and her regulations and her policies. You saying one thing, but you're demonstrating something else. Leadership is seen. It's nothing more than that. Number 2, a light of leadership, it reveals. It is not simply a leader who describes everything as being perfect. Obviously, no institution is perfect. No individual is perfect. There is a passage in Scripture that speaks profoundly to this, speaking the truth in love. If you tell me that your love only consists with your children of smiling at them and hugging them and kissing them, then I'm telling you, you are not speaking the truth in love. My children are oftentimes in need of correction. They do not know all the things that will confront them when they arrive at their maturity in life. Leaders are not simply lambs. They also are lions when necessary. They do not always take the easy way out for fear of individuals or fear of the crowd. If you don't want to be a leader, the only thing you have to do is to keep sitting where you are. Leaders are by definition distinct. They do what others either cannot do or will not do. You cannot be a leader if you never ever reveal anything beyond what is currently seen. And this revelation is not merely revealing things that are negative, but also revealing things that everyone is capable of doing. You want someone, and you want to become someone who is able to bring value added to our university, to make plain and make clear that this is something that can be beneficial. And this is why a light of leadership not only demonstrates itself in works, but also in revelation. Thirdly, Dean Gray in his invocation spoke of humility. And I wish to give you a proper view of what humility looks like. A light of leadership cannot be hidden even if it wants to. It is a false humility that walks around and stays in the corner and says, no, 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 I want others to go forward. Humility and fearlessness go hand in hand. A light is something that cannot be hid. Talent always rises to the top. Competence rises to the top. If you are the best, it is no prideful statement to say that I am the best. Michael Jordan is the preeminent example of what a basketball player can be and do and accomplish. He did not sit at the back of the room and say, oh no, let's let Scottie Pippen, or let Steve Kerr, or let one of these other persons take the lead. He knew he was the best, he demonstrated the best, and he brought the best out of others. I always say that humility is the greatest 8-letter word, but the second greatest 8-letter word is fearless. One can be fearless when one knows who he or she is. It is only the weak and the cowering mind and person and individual who concerns themselves with people and individuals. The person who is truly humble, truly knowledgeable, truly competent, knows it. And therein lies humility in its most profound way. Knowing who you are. Before you know what you must do, you must know who you are. And so lights are not designed to be hidden. In this university, I've come on board and I've only made one external appointment, one of which was a chief of staff who was a confidant and a colleague and a competent person. And I've also hired an IT director. But I'm very pleased to say that of many of the people that I've found at this university to assist me in my work are already here. They were hidden. They were off to the side for whatever reasons. Individuals who were successful in other places but somehow were not allowed to be successful here. It makes me wonder when you have the best and the brightest sitting in the corner. I wonder about that because I've been treated like that. When one tells me that this person is the best and no demonstrative works is associated with this person other than the fact that they've been here. But then I can look over there and see up in the stands that there's somebody that's gifted, talented, competent, hard worker, and simply have not been given a chance. Because they've been pushed to the side. They've been abused by either their race, their creed, their gender. This is not what lights do. One of the most important books, if you ever wish to know, in my opinion, who's the greatest leader of all time. And I'm not referring to Jesus because in many respects, he was both man and God. But in terms of mortal men, I believe firmly that a man named Cyrus the Great was the greatest leader this world has ever seen. This man led campaigns against the greatest civilizations in all the earth. And he started with a very small group of his colleagues, the Medes. And he formed with the Persians. And en route to conquering great nations, he pulled together countries and individuals of all sizes because he managed in such a way that he recognized only talent, hard work, and competence. This book is used in all Fortune 500 companies, and if you want to look it up, it's called Cyrus the Great, and you can always read about Cyrus the Great. You've seen references to him in movies such as Alexander. He was a model for Alexander, and I encourage you to read Larry Hedrick's translation of Cyrus the Great. He was a great man because he was without respect of persons. So you hidden lights out there, you're not designed to be hidden. SGA leaders who have been appointed are leaders. But if they do not lead and you are not in leadership, you have every right and opportunity to step up and to do what they will not do. And this goes the same for every rank, faculty, staff, students. Tuskegee University needs its leaders. It does not need a singular leader. Every problem is not the president's problem. It's the position's problem. If it's athletics, it's the athletics problem. If it's facilities, it's the capital projects and planning problem. It's not the president's problems. I say a great deal that a university president has to meet with the right people, kiss the babies, makes the speeches, write the articles, do the interviews. He also cannot come to look over your dormitory room. I have multiple lights for that purpose. And if I do not have those lights, then I will seek out those lights so that I can be effective. Fourthly, a light of leadership is always assigned to darkness. Purpose is the greatest 7-letter word. Lights are created for one purpose: to go into the darkness and reveal, and to be a light there. If you want to be a great leader, you will be assigned to a problem. I hear a great deal about Auburn University and the University of Alabama, and you say, we should do this and we should do that. But I assure you, looking at their annual revenue budget and looking at our own, you will clearly understand, sitting in this seat, the reasons why we cannot. If you want to be in an environment where there are millions and millions of dollars of research monies, private gifts and giving, state-of-the-art environments, I dare say you will not go into that environment and be much of a leader. They already have many of those things. But if you want to be a leader, like Booker T. Washington, who came and there was a shack, and he came and saw and understood that this shack could become the single greatest institution in all of America. That's a leader. That's a light assigned to darkness. You are individuals in each of your areas, faculty and staff and students, that have dark problems. It is not the sign of leadership to only come up and tell me what the problems are. If you are the dean, the chair, the faculty member in that class, the administrator, the student, ROTC, alumnus, you can be a light to that dark problem, if indeed that is your purpose. Because similar to a light is equipped to fix that darkness. If you are truly the person for a particular position and post, you have been created for the purpose of exposing and dispelling that darkness. But if you cannot dispel that darkness, that means that you are not the appropriate light to be assigned to that darkness. Light is created for purposes. And in the light of leadership, we need multiple lights that can solve the problems of darkness throughout this university. And I don't mean to contend that every part of the university is dark. But where there is darkness, we need lights to dispel that darkness. And finally, a light of leadership knows no boundaries. If you know anything about the prophets, Isaiah wrote in Isaiah 49:6, he said, "It is too light a thing to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and restore the preserved ones of Israel. But I'll make you a light unto the Gentiles, so that my salvation will be seen even to the ends of the earth. One could easily dismiss that and say, it is too light a thing to raise up African Americans. It is too light a thing to raise up one particular ethnic group over another, or to simply focus on one religious group or another. But a true light can give light to all in the house. It knows no boundaries. A STEM student can go to the theater and listen to the arts and humanities, and the arts and humanities students can learn science and mathematics. The most skillful leaders are individuals who have multiple functions, cross competencies. They can do more than what they are simply pigeonholed to do. Light knows no boundaries. You can light up this room. You can take a match and it'll light up any darkness anywhere in the world. In Africa, in India, in Durham, North Carolina, in Tuskegee, Alabama. A light is a light. And it's not bound by the freshmen or the sophomores or the juniors or your clique or your group or the people who've been here the longest or the people who've been here the shortest or the people that have been here in the mid-range. Light knows no boundaries. If you are indeed a light, you can go sit in a synagogue. You can sit in a mosque. And you can sit in a chapel. Because a light of leadership knows no boundaries. You can listen to Rakim. You can read Martin Luther King. You can even listen to what I've learned a song from the other night, Hannah Montana. Hannah Montana, Hannah Montana, Hannah Montana. I didn't know that song, and yes, I did read the lyrics and I know what it's a reference to. But you see, I'm a light. It doesn't affect me to listen to a song. Some individuals will look at our students and hear the songs and they go away and they frown and they look at them like, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. Well, what were you doing in college? I assure you, I had a lot of fun in college, as my chief of staff alluded to, prior to meeting my college sweetheart. And we shall stop there. I was participated in fraternity life. Obviously on your bio, just like everyone's bio, you don't list the dark side of the struggle. But what humility teaches you is that I can relate to you because I was once you. And any successful person knows that you have not always been successful. You know that you have not always been sitting here with shirts and ties and robes. You know that you were once like that young girl sneaking and creeping out late at night. That you were like that young man with that blunt in his hand. Possibly. Or that beer bottle. And as a matter of fact, you guys know I know it's in those cups, so don't get it twisted. But what I'm trying to suggest to you, a light of leadership knows no boundary. It loses nothing about who I am to have you know that I am a man, that I have made mistakes, and that I will continue to make mistakes. What we need are individuals who can go into dormitories as well as into the front office. And those same students who are creeping or smoking or drinking, you also need to be able to sit with the president when he's developing this institution and tell them about your major and tell them about your great professors and to put on a shirt and a tie and to walk with your heads high as many of you already do, and to not merely have the style of a nice outfit but the substance behind the outfit. Which means you must know something. You must know something beyond your shirt and your tie. Which is one of the reasons why I tend to dislike bow ties, because in this current generation there is a sense that by merely placing on a bow tie, you are automatically intellectual. I've had countless men to walk up to me and tell me that you're smart because you're wearing a bow tie. Now, I know all of you don't wear bow ties, and there are some smart people wearing bow ties. But I also know that I've seen, my son loves bow ties. But I want you to know that whether you wear a bow tie, a t-shirt, a regular tie, a robe, basketball sneakers, shooting here in Chappie James, that leadership is beyond what you're wearing. It's about consistency. It's about the man and the woman behind the clothing. So in closing, this light of leadership, this sense of how we will do what we intend to do at this university will involve all of you becoming lights in your respective spheres, whether a student light, a faculty light, a staff light, an executive council member light, a board of trustee light, or a supporter light. Allow your light to shine. It's one of our principal pillars, leadership. This university, for such a time as this, needs leaders. Not one leader, but many leaders. And in closing, I want you to ask you to do two things. I want you to trust Tuskegee University's trajectory, where it's going, and I want you to trust Tuskegee University's tradition. For the two of these things run in parallel, one to another. From President, Founder, Principal Booker T. Washington to the 7th President, Brian Lamont Johnson. Thank you very kindly.
We want to thank President Johnson. Let's give him another round of applause. Thank you. Again, the Tuskegee University Golden Voices Choir.
Preacher, you ought to bend down. Oh, yes, my Lord.
You ought to be sitting in the kingdom to
With the class of 2018, including first-year transfer students and other students, would you please stand? And let us, as a family of Tuskegee University, officially welcome them to the family. Hey, we can do better than that. Let's stand up and welcome our new students. At this time, President Johnson.
Freshman students, please remain standing and repeat after me. You will find your induction pledge inside of your program, and you can merely repeat after me. We, the class of 2018 and other new students of Tuskegee University, commit ourselves to be exemplary of the rich heritage that has been imparted to us both in and outside of the classroom. We commit ourselves to become serious and civil participants in the Tuskegee experience. To abide by the policies and guidelines of the university and to honor its noblest traditions by our continued pursuit of excellence. We pledge to further develop in ourselves high standards of integrity and competence. We will strive to become authentic seekers of truth through the structure and discipline of this university. We aim to acquire the best that this institution has to offer through its mission of teaching, research, and service. May we never forget that along with this grand opportunity comes an equally grand responsibility to preserve and enhance this institution for generations of students yet to come. We dedicate ourselves over the next 4 or more years to an academic preparation which is rigorous, thorough, and effective. For the rest of our lives, we will engage in lifelong learning, empowered to compete with confidence in a rapidly changing global society. As an expression of our global citizenship, we recognize the infinite worth of every human being, regardless of nationality, ethnicity, race, gender, class, or religion. We will meet life's challenges by acknowledging our common humanity with others and strive with courage and dignity to make life more humane for all of the world's people. You are now have been fully inducted as our class of 2018 and also other new students. Let's give these new Tuskegee University students a round of applause.